Remembering Dr. King. It was 50 years ago he was assassinated, but this morning we are remembering his life and legacy, paying tribute here in Las Vegas like we do each and every year. A preview of what to expect at the big parade is headed your way. Plus,
no, you can't take that back. You can't get him back.
Innocent victim, a local UFC fighter, heartbroken after her cat is killed during a burglary. The hunt to find the criminals and the charges they're facing just ahead.
And a near tragedy. Check out your screen. This is a passenger plane. We have new information about this event. Everybody on board gets out alive, but wait until you hear the tale they're telling this morning.
Live from Las Vegas, this is News 3 Today.
Good morning and welcome in. It's straight up 5 o'clock here in Las Vegas, but it's 7 o'clock in Chicago.
Oh, it's just such a great city, Chicago, but Las Vegas has just a lot better weather, doesn't it? So here we are on this holiday, and we are going to have fantastic conditions for the parade in downtown Las Vegas. You're going to hear all about it in moments.
So welcome in on this Monday. We hope you had a great weekend, and maybe you have today off as well. We're the Wagners on News 3 Today.
Welcoming Dana back after being in Austin last week for a weather conference. So glad you're here. I'm his wife, Kim Wagner, and we're alongside Kelly Curran, who has the enviable position of talking about our fantastic weather today. We're going to get to her here in a moment. Also want to show that Jeff Marr is here in Tom's absence, so we're going to get you to where you're going, and hopefully it'll be light traffic on a holiday. But Kelly, the parade, and you have the just phenomenal details.
I know you can't ask for better conditions. I mean, definitely there have been some years where it's been bundle up for the parade, but this year you're just going to want to make sure you have some layers on. It's a little bit cool as you're heading down to get that perfect spot. 53 degrees at 9 a.m. Now the parade kicks off at 10 a.m. Temperatures still expected to be in the 50s, but look at this, by lunchtime 62, 66 at 4 o'clock. But we have changes coming. We'll talk about those in a few minutes.
And because it is a holiday, we are expecting light traffic all around, and that's what we're seeing so far as we take a look at the speeds around the valley. You shouldn't have any trouble getting around. We did have an accident overnight on Flamingo at I-15, but that should be cleaned up by now. We're going to be talking about the upcoming parade and how that can affect your commute coming up in just a bit. In the meantime, 15 southbound, 5 minutes between the Bowl and Tropicana. No complaints on this Monday.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Jet. Well, speaking of the parade that takes place in about 5 hours from now, one of the largest MLK parades in the entire country is taking place in downtown Las Vegas, and that's where we find our Faith Jesse with the details. Hey, Faith.
Good morning, Dana, and good morning to all of you all in Las Vegas. It's a very special day honoring a man who's done so much for not only us here in America, all around the world, and there's still a lot of work to be done, but we are honoring him today in the 36th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade, the largest in Nevada. And right now, what we're seeing downtown is a lot of setup, a lot of barriers being placed up and down 4th Street here, and we're also seeing a lot of road closures. So if you guys are traveling in the downtown area, beware that there is going to be a lot of road closures. The parade's going to be, well, the road closures started at 5 a.m. So right now, up until the parade's ending. The parade is going to be starting this morning at 10 a.m. If you guys are off work, I suggest you get out. There is a lot of excitement planned, performers and speakers and dancers, people not just here in Las Vegas, some people coming from Los Angeles and other parts, a lot of school people, a lot of just people very excited about the holiday. It's going to start on Gas and then go up 4th Street, and it's just going to be so much excitement, so much fun. And there's going to be a big presence from News 3. Our Crystal Allen is going to be in the parade. A lot of other News 3 people. Crystal probably saw that and was like, girl, I know you did not just forget my name. No, Crystal, I gotcha. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. And we're going to be out here interviewing performers all morning. So make sure to stay tuned to News 3. Hope you guys enjoy the day off if you have it. I'm Faith Jesse reporting News 3.
And a plug for the noon, too. Dana and I are going to be anchoring the noon broadcast where we always have the must-see moments from the parade. If you can't make it down there, Faith, you'll be a part of it. Thank you very much for that live report getting us started. And also, this is dedicated as a day of service. Let's say you can't go to the parade. Maybe you can do something in our community to show that you are dedicating your life to the accomplishments of Martin Luther King Jr. That's sort of what took place yesterday in Atlanta, because today has been dubbed a day of service. They got a lot of people together who are dedicated to different service events throughout the city there of Atlanta and beyond. Organizers saying that these honorees have exemplified the values that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. instilled during the civil rights movement. Among those being recognized for their dedication to service last night, a special award given to the mayor of San Juan, Puerto Rico, for her service during the hurricane relief and cleanup effort.
And a lot of people will be enjoying the holiday outdoors. In fact, it's free to get into Red Rock today. All the national parks are free, so Lake Mead, Zion, Bryce Canyon, Grand Canyon, all free for you if you would like to enjoy the outdoors.
Unfortunately, the reality of local news brings us to this, an update on the 20 people who are waking up without a home this morning because of a couple of different fires. We have a map on your screen. You can orient yourself. One of them right there starting at an apartment near Twain and Swenson. Police say a dog lost its life in this fire and 23 people displaced as a result. Then there was another fire in Henderson at right there at Green Valley Parkway in the 215 is where this one happened. Fire crews saying a man inside a home suffered serious burns, was taken to the hospital. Officials say they don't know at this point what caused either of the fires.
And the investigation continues into who shot and killed a North Las Vegas teenager while he was driving. This happened near Civic Center in Evans around 10:30 on Saturday night. Police say that a 17-year-old boy pulled up to a stoplight there when a dark-colored sedan pulled up next to him. A brief conversation, shots were fired. That boy was rushed to UMC where he later died. Anyone with information about this is urged to call Crime Stoppers.
At 5:06, a local UFC fighter's home has been burglarized, and now police need your help finding the people who are responsible. It takes us back to Thursday morning of last week. Very near Wigwam in the 215 is where this happened. And this UFC fighter is Jessica Rose Clark. She was actually in St. Louis preparing for a fight, and her roommate Stephanie Michaels was at work, so apparently no one home at the time. They say that the heartless crooks kicked their friendly one-year-old cat Dwight in the stomach so hard that Dwight had to be put down.
Something is so wrong with them or in their lives that they need to do this. It's horrible. His intestines and stomach were essentially being pushed up into his chest and into his throat. And he wasn't going to make it long enough to get to surgery.
Oh, just awful. Police say the people responsible for this still out there this morning, and when they are caught, they're facing 2 felonies, burglary and also animal abuse charges. If you have any information about who may have been responsible for this, you can call that Crime Stoppers hotline number, which is on your screen, 702-385-5555, and you can remain anonymous when you dial that number.
Our Vegas Golden Knights have taken the city by storm, leading the Western Conference in points. And yesterday they held a fan fest in downtown Las Vegas. 10,000 people showing up to get selfies and autographs from their favorite players yesterday. The head coach, Gerard Gallant, no doubt will be coach of the year in the National Hockey League for getting this expansion team to the top of the Western Conference, saying he loves coaching in Vegas.
It seems like every next home game's the record-setting crowd. So, I mean, they're just building the momentum. Our players are having a lot of fun here, and they're enjoying the city, and the fan support has been unbelievable.
Well, we're going to find out what the fan support's like tomorrow night on the road, because they are going on a road trip starting in Nashville tomorrow night. Right now we have some live pictures of an MLK memorial this morning, this out of our nation's capital, as people remember the civil rights leader who was actually born on January 15th. The holiday doesn't always land on his actual birthday, but it does today. If he were still alive, if his life hadn't been taken 50 years ago by the assassin's bullet, he would be 89 years of age.
Can't wait to see that memorial in person
Yes.
coming up on spring break. Still to come this morning on the broadcast, sudden chaos. A structure collapses at the stock exchange. Hundreds of people start running. Who police say was visiting when all of this went down? Plus, was it a blessing in disguise? Some experts here in Las Vegas are saying what just happened in Hawaii with that false report may have a hidden benefit. And then also, passengers just terrified when their passenger plane skids off the runway. this morning what officials say could have caused this major error.
I can't control myself, got me calling out for help. Ask me, someone help me.
12 minutes after 5 o'clock on this Monday morning, and breaking overnight, dozens of people injured after a floor at the Indonesian stock exchange in Jakarta collapsed, spilling people onto the lobby area below. The lobby filled with debris and people being helped out of the building, while others were lying on the steps outside of the tower. CNN reporting that at least 77 people taken to the hospital. Not immediately clear what caused the floor to collapse in the first place, but it appears it may have been a balcony or a walkway. According to police, hundreds of students were visiting the stock exchange at the time. Investigators again looking into the cause of this.
5:12 now, and President Donald Trump continues to defend himself after several days of controversy over those reporter remarks about Haiti and African nations. So here's what he told reporters just hours ago. This is his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida last night.
No, I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed. That I can tell you.
The president at a dinner and had that photo op with House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy also in the mix. The president has been widely criticized for allegedly making vulgar comments during his official immigration discussions on Thursday of last week. He did take to Twitter as well, saying that he only used tough language when he was talking about DACA within that meeting, and that he never said anything derogatory about Haitians.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration has resumed accepting renewal applications for DACA. That's the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. This comes after a U.S. district judge issued an injunction against President Trump's decision to end the program. The program allows for undocumented immigrants who were brought to the United States as children, they call those dreamers, to stay here without worry of deportation. President Trump rescinded the program, arguing that it was installed unilaterally instead of by legislation. He has argued that any deal on DACA should include funding for a wall on the southern border. Republicans and Democrats in Congress are still trying to work on a compromise. They need to get a budget deal done by this Friday. If they don't, that could lead to a government shutdown.
Mitt Romney has reportedly told a friend that he's getting back into politics. According to the New York Times, he texted that friend the words, "I'm running." There has been growing speculation that he's going to seek the vacant U.S. Senate seat in Utah later this year. That position opened up as Republican Senator Orrin Hatch recently announced that he would not seek re-election. The deadline to enter the race is coming up here in March. No word on when the former governor of Massachusetts will make this statement official.
And happening today, the Pope is scheduled to visit Santiago, Chile, the city stepping up security. A motorcade could be seen at the Vatican's diplomatic mission there. Police on guard in front of the Catholic cathedral there in the Chilean capital. Heightened security follows a series of attacks on Catholic churches on Friday. Unknown vandals set fire to at least 2 churches, threw a homemade bomb at one, and left pamphlets with threatening messages to the Pope. Nobody injured there, and no group has claimed responsibility for the attacks.
It is now 5:15, and experts here in Las Vegas are saying they think it's a good thing about that false ballistic missile warning that happened in Hawaii over the weekend. In case you missed the story, it was for nearly 40 minutes on Saturday that Hawaiians thought that they were facing threat here. Experts say that what it's done is it's sparked a conversation about what to do if a real missile warning comes across your phone or your screen. Maybe if you're at home. It happened during a basketball game. People were watching the Gators playing. I think it was Ole Miss when all of a sudden this happened. There is a science consultant that we talked with here in town, and he says that some people believe that radiation is the biggest threat with a nuke, but he says it's actually the intense shock wave that follows.
So, one important thing is if you ever see a flash that's brighter than the sun, get away from the windows because you just saw the lightning and the thunder's coming.
Experts say in case of an actual missile strike, you should immediately find shelter, duck and cover in a room or maybe an area with no windows, not like what people were doing here on your screen in Hawaii as they were running out into Mother Nature. Right now, let's check in with Jeff, who is filling the shoes of Tom Hawley in the traffic department this morning.
And with today being a holiday, we're not going to see a lot of activity on the roadways, especially on the highways. But as we take a live look in the downtown area, this is Main and Ogden. Not far from there is 4th Street and Stewart. That's where you're going to see the road closures in effect as we speak, as we look ahead to the Martin Luther King Day Parade, which is set to begin this morning. We do have an overnight fire that did cause a closure on Jones near Desert Inn that should be cleared shortly. And if you're heading around the valley, we're not seeing any slow spots as of yet. 95 is clear and so is 15 southbound. We do traffic and weather every 10 minutes. Let's see what's happening outside with Kelly.
Thanks, Jeff. And as you're heading out the door, it's looking good today. I mean, temperatures are actually pretty warm just to get things going. Now, yesterday, tons of sunshine out there to start. This is the Cadence camera. More high thin clouds, though, rolling their way in later in the afternoon. And we have seen some of those clouds sticking around during the overnight hours, which is responsible for these more mild temperatures this morning. Lakes, 49 degrees. Paradise, you're at 48. Sunrise Manor, you're coming in at 44 degrees at this hour. Winds are nice and light for us today as well, so that's some good news. So maybe a light jacket as you're heading out the door. We will see a few more clouds today, though. Partly sunny skies in the forecast. We do have a system on the way. It's not going to bring us any precipitation tomorrow. We will see more clouds. Lincoln County, though, might see a little bit of active weather. Now, if you're heading down for the parade today, the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade starts at 10 a.m. Downtown Las Vegas, 57 degrees when it gets going. So again, you're going to want to dress in layers today because a light jacket's probably going to be nice. But by the time the parade wraps up, partly sunny skies, 62. That's nice. And it gets even warmer. The high today, 67. Partly sunny skies, again, light winds throughout the overnight hours as well, 47 for that low. And the 7-day forecast, like I said, mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. Could see a little bit of active weather in Lincoln County. We're going to be keeping an eye on that. But we could see rain right here in Las Vegas on Friday, along with gusty winds and cooler temperatures. Of course, by cooler, we mean normal.
I was at the AMS conference in Austin last week. Did we have any rain last week?
Stop it.
Everybody was jealous, though, weren't they?
Yes.
They're like, oh, man, you're
I know.
Like the 1 week we actually get a lot of rain. So.
I know.
All right, Kelly, thank you very much for that. Meanwhile, they are assessing the damage in Peru. Very strong magnitude 7.1 earthquake over the weekend. Killed at least one person there. The quake struck Peru's southern coast before dawn, shaking traffic cameras in one city. Some homes collapsed, cracked open some roads there, and the government saying that dozens of people were injured for this very strong earthquake.
At 5:19, we now take you to Louisiana, where a natural gas line ruptured. It caused an explosion and a fire. Crews rushed to the scene to assess the situation, closing down roads in the area. Firefighters working to control those flames. Officials say no harmful chemicals released, thank goodness.
So we set up our roadblocks and called out our hazmat team, and were quickly able to assess the situation. And luckily there was no chemicals involved that we know of. It's, we think, 100% natural gas.
And just by checking out the footage on your screen, we are pleased to be able to report no injuries associated with this. And they are emphasizing on the scene that the community is not in any danger.
One person has died after this. Flames engulfing this shuttle boat along Florida's Gulf Coast. This boat was headed to a casino, which was located on a boat that was offshore, when all of a sudden the captain of the boat noticed that he had some engine trouble and noticed some flames. So what he did, immediate quick thinking, he steered the boat towards shore, and he got so close to shore that people were able to get off the boat and, in essence, wade safely onto the shoreline. 50 people were on board the shuttle. Again, one person was killed because of this, but it's the quick thinking of that boat captain that saved more lives.
We have dramatic images to share now, but not a single person injured. Look at this passenger plane in Turkey almost plunging into the water. I mean, this image is just stunning. But again, people scared, but no one injured. You hear a baby crying on board, people frantic. The plane's wheel stuck in the mud, its nose just feet from the sea. Still unbelievable that this really happened. Emergency crews secured that plane with ropes as the firefighters used water hoses to cool the jet. 168 people on board, every single person got off safely. A spokesperson from the airport saying that the plane overshot the runway and it was pilot misjudgment. That's to blame for what we're seeing on your screen. Authorities still investigating exactly how he misjudged, how this went so wrong.
And that's why you wear your seatbelt on board those planes at all times. Coming up, a cat is getting an eviction notice. Cute little feline hanging out there in the library, and now some people want to kick that cat out. We'll tell you why just ahead.
It's a unique vending machine. You're seeing it on your screen. Move over beef jerky. We've got more meats that are for sale, and it's in a high traffic area. Some say it's bizarre placement. You can be the judge ahead.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get.
And on this Monday, it is a holiday, so we're not expecting a ton of traffic out there today. Unfortunately, we are accident-free. So as we take a look in the downtown area, this is a look at Main Street and Stewart. A reminder of the Martin Luther King Parade, which happens today, is going to make its way down 4th Street through the downtown area, and closures are already in effect. If you're trying to make your way on the freeways, I-15 both directions is looking fine through the metro area, and if you're coming in from Henderson, 95, 515, not seeing any delays. Another update in 10 minutes. For now, check that forecasters, Kelly.
And in addition to the parade, it's a fee-free day at all of our national parks, including Lake Mead. So if you want to head out there, 66 degrees, partly sunny skies. We'll have nice light winds. Red Rock, no fees today. 59 degrees, that's the forecast high. Great day for hiking, or maybe you want to head up to Mount Charleston. We're looking at temperatures in the low 50s.
Not a bookworm, but does live in a library. Look at this cat in Michigan, has been living in the public library for 2.5 years, but might be getting evicted.
Ah, kitty. That's the name of the cat, Ah, kitty, as in, aw, kitty.
So cute.
Has been living in that library for the last 2.5 years, taking up residence there. But some people want Ah, kitty to be kicked out because...
What, cat allergies or something?
Yeah, they have allergies. So now there's a lot of people coming into the support of the cat, saying it's become such an iconic part of the library. But the library board has now got to make a very tough decision on what to do here.
Oh, that's a tough one. All right, so your thoughts. Do you evict the cat, or do you have an area in the library set up for people who have allergies? Maybe that can be the deal that's brokered. You see our Twitter handles on your screen. We would love to hear from you.
And at 5:26, happening right now, we're on board the morning commute in the city of Chicago, Illinois. Doesn't look like a lot of fresh snow right now on the roadways, but they have had plenty over recent days. You can kind of see it pushed over to the side, but the morning commute lighter than normal because of the holiday today.
And if you're picking a parade to go to, I would pick the one here in downtown Las Vegas versus the one they're probably going to have in Chicago when you see that scene. Still to come, he is responding to allegations. Now it's Aziz Ansari, just won a Golden Globe. He's accused of sexual misconduct. He is responding. You'll hear what he has to say ahead.
Plus the first news conference on the 1 October shooting in 3 months. Who's going to give it and when? Some answers just ahead on News 3 today.
Coming up in this half hour, celebrating MLK Day, Las Vegas honoring the life and legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. on what would have been the 50th anniversary of his death this year. What you need to know about the local parade, and also what else is going on as far as a day of service in his honor today.
And responding to allegations, this actor just won a Golden Globe days ago. Now he's accused of sexual misconduct. What he's saying about it coming up.
And then a bizarre crash. Check out your screen. A car right there into the second floor of a building. What police say the driver did for the car to go airborne.
Live from Las Vegas, this is News 3 Today.
Good morning. It is 5:30 on this Monday morning, January the 15th, the actual birthday of Martin Luther King Jr.
And of course, our resorts here on the Las Vegas Strip will be hopping today. But if you need to go to the post office, you can put it off a day, maybe the bank. A lot of government offices and other businesses closed because of the holiday.
Schools too.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Reminder.
Schools
it's a
are
good
off
reminder.
today.
Yes.
So welcome in. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. We hope you had a great weekend. We're the Wagners on News 3 Today.
Kim and Dana hanging out in the studio with Kelly and Jeff, who is here in Tom's absence. And hopefully you have a little bit of an easier time this morning with the traffic reports, Jeff, because it is a holiday.
As expected, not going to see a ton of traffic on the roadways, but in the downtown area when that parade kicks off, you are going to see some traffic issues. We're going to be talking about those over the next 3 hours. And that's going to be on 4th Street as you're making your way to Stewart from Gas. In the meantime, there is a brief closure, and this is on Jones southbound at Desert Inn because of an overnight fire. Besides that, on the freeways, everything looks good. Slow a little bit on 15 southbound, but nothing that you can't handle. and we're looking at 11 minutes from Speedway to downtown. Another update coming up in 10 minutes. Now for a check of that forecast. Kelly, a lot of people are going to be outside for that parade.
And it's great weather for it today, too. Partly sunny skies, what we're expecting once that sun comes up a little after 6:50 this morning. Now, temperatures right now in the upper 40s, but we'll be at 62 by lunchtime, 67 at 3 o'clock. We'll take a look at what to expect for the rest of the week coming up.
And our parade here in town, one of the largest honoring the late Dr. King in the entire country. Thousands of people expected to participate and also view this parade that begins at 10 o'clock this morning with a live picture coming out of downtown Las Vegas. The parade route is just one street to the west of Las Vegas Boulevard. It'll be on 4th Street, and it starts on Gas and goes north. You're looking at pictures from a previous parade. Thousands of people expected down there, and if you're headed down, go a little bit early because road closures began at 5 o'clock this morning.
And we do know that we're going to have complete coverage. We're anchoring the noon program today, so the parade starts at 10. It generally wraps up around noontime, so Dana and I will make sure that you see the must-see moments. This is also dubbed a day of service in honor of Dr. King. So NV Energy employees here in town are going to volunteer at a local food bank. It'll start at 9 this morning. 85 NV Energy employees will offer helping hands at the 3 Square Food Bank as part of a national day of service. Those employees are going to fill bags with ready-to-eat food for kids here in town who might otherwise go without during the weekends and long breaks from school. Last year, they were able to pack more than 6,000 bags, and that set a record. We're hoping that they can break the record this year.
And a lot of you will be enjoying the holiday outdoors, including going to Red Rock Canyon. It is free to get in today because of the holiday. Also free to get into Lake Mead, Grand Canyon, Zion, and Bryce as well in southern Utah.
It's happened again, a robbery at another one of our casinos here in town, and now local police looking for the man responsible. We have the surveillance images. Apparently he walked into the Ellis Island Hotel and Casino on Saturday afternoon. Police say he went right up to the cashier's cage with a handgun and demanded money. The cashier complied, and then the thief took off with the cash. Police are asking anyone who maybe recognizes this person. I know he's got sunglasses on, but that was a decent shot of his face. You can call that Crime Stoppers hotline number. It is 702-385-5555. And there he is with the glasses. We just saw him a moment ago without glasses on. Maybe that can help people who possibly know this person.
Now we have a heartless crime on the campus of UNLV. For some reason, somebody stole a memorial plaque that honors a cheerleader who died of cancer. That's a look at the plaque and where it stood until it got stolen. That plaque dedicated to Valerie Pida. She passed away in 1992 at the age of 25 years. That is her right there. She was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 13, and she became a household name in Las Vegas in 1987 when she put off chemotherapy to cheer with the Rebels at the Final Four. Some good news here. The plaque was insured. UNLV now working to replace it.
It is 5:35 and we have an update now concerning 1 October. As we look ahead, we are hearing from the Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo that he is going to have a news conference on all of this very soon. We do know that the Associated Press is reporting it's going to be in about a week's time. If you read the Review Journal over the weekend, they're also saying that we're days away. This is regarding the investigation into the deadliest mass shooting in recent history here in the United States. But the sheriff does not expect to update all of us on the shooter's motive, Stephen Paddock. The Las Vegas Review Journal saying that the sheriff said at a law enforcement appreciation event over the weekend that his department is transparent and not hiding anything from anybody about the 1 October attack.
Yeah, and the fact is he still doesn't know what the motive was in the shooting, saying there was no smoking gun in that regard. The fund for 1 October victims continues to grow. Boulder City company famous for making pens has donated more than $10,000 from sales of a limited edition Vegas Strong pen. Money split into 2 checks, one for victims of the 1 October shooting, the other for the Injured Police Officers Fund. So far, more than $20 million has been raised for those shooting victims, and we will continue to bring you updates. Tomorrow, we're going to be one step closer to finding out if we will also have access to Metro search warrants. You can stay up to date on air and online at news3lv.com and on social media as well.
And at 5:36 still to come this morning, talk about bizarre placement. A vending machine selling packaged meat But that's not the strangest part. Where it is placed, that is turning heads. And then a car crashes into the second story of a building. How it happened and the miraculous condition of the people inside that car, that's when we return. At 5:39, we have a take a look at this moment. We've been teasing you all morning about this meat vending machine. Well, it is an odd placement. It's in a Nordstrom. So you need some shoes, a luxury bag, maybe a little makeup and some meat, all in one place. Inside the machine, high quality meats, cheeses, and jerky you can get on the go. The company calls the machine the candy store for the carnivore. And it's not the only one. Owens Meats first rolled out the meat vending machine more than 2 years ago, and they own others also all throughout Seattle and the state of Washington. So, Jeff, we do know that Nordstrom is known for some bizarre things in the past. We've had them on the program, and now they are teamed up with a kind of weird one.
And that was in the men's section, right? No, I'm serious. I'm pretty sure
really?
it was.
You could tell? That's funny.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's happening on the roadways. We know there's a big parade that's happening today, the Martin Luther King Parade, and that's going to take place on 4th Street in the downtown area. So there's already closures in place that started around 5 a.m. Watch out for those around Stewart. And if you're making your way through the valley, you're not seeing any delays on the freeways and no accidents. We're not going to see a lot of traffic today because many people have today off. 95 going through Rainbow to the Bowl is a 6-minute commute. Another update in 10 minutes. Now for a check of what you can expect, here's Kelly.
Thanks, Jeff. And as you're heading out the door right now, temperatures on the cool side in some locations. Cool by our standards anyway. Grab a light jacket. Pahrum's at 41 degrees. Boulder City, though, hey, you're already at 50 degrees in the Las Vegas Valley. Faith Galloway Elementary School, this is at Horizon Ridge and Greenway. We're looking at 48 degrees for the current temperature. And as we get into the high this afternoon for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, 67. That is 9 degrees above normal.
Woohoo!
Look at Kelly with a fancy graphic.
I know, I like it. I like the 67
all the stops
too.
today. 541 caught on camera as a firefighter makes a dramatic rescue. The story behind a child being thrown from an apartment balcony just ahead.
And we take it to Australia for the first Grand Slam in the new year. And this morning, what a tennis player there said after losing that may have you talking this morning. It's new in our 6 o'clock hour.
It is 5:44, time for top stories. More than 20 people displaced after a fire happened at an apartment complex. One fire at this apartment near Twain and Swenson. More than 23 people displaced in this one. And another fire in Henderson at a mobile home near Green Valley Parkway in the 215. Fire crews say a man inside the home suffered serious burns, taken to the hospital. Officials say they don't know what caused either of the fires.
We have a teenager who's been shot. It happened in North Las Vegas. The gunman's still on the loose this morning. It happened at Civic Center in Evans just before 10:30 on Saturday night. Police say that a dark color sedan pulled up to the teenager. He was right there in a truck at the light. Apparently there was a brief conversation and then all of a sudden shots fired. That 17-year-old rushed to UMC where we got word here at the station he later died. Anyone with information about this developing story, please call Crime Stoppers at 702-385-5555.
And comedian and actor Aziz Ansari responding to sexual misconduct allegations made against him by a woman that he dated briefly last year. She's a 23-year-old photographer out of New York, saying that they went on a date, ended up at his apartment, and she says that he was aggressive toward her during a sexual encounter. He thought the sexual activity was completely consensual. The woman said she decided to come forward after she saw Ansari wearing a Time's Up pin at the Golden Globe Awards last week, where he won Best Comedy Actor in a TV series.
It is now 5:45. Police, along with the FBI, investigating after somebody ends up throwing out flyers claiming to be from the KKK. This happened in Northern Virginia. Officials say at least 10 people living in the area ended up receiving these flyers. One witness say that they saw someone toss a bag out of a car window which contained brochures for the KKK, saying the papers also had hate-filled comments about Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. as we celebrate his life and legacy today. day. Some found the flyers also on a running trail. Other residents found them at their mailboxes. This is not the first time that this area of Northern Virginia has been targeted with messages supposedly coming from the KKK. Last year, residents there received bags with candy and threatening quotes saying white extinction during Halloween.
546, you have got to check out this hard-stopping moments caught on a firefighter's helmet camera. A parent tosses his child to rescuers. We've spot shouted it for you. A desperate father throwing his child to that firefighter down below who makes the great catch and then rushes to find that child medical attention. Flames trapping that family and others on that third floor as that massive apartment fire raged near Atlanta on January 3rd. 12 people, 8 children among them, suffering only minor injuries.
More dramatic images to share with you. This out of California. So how did a driver manage to go airborne and end up in this second story here of a dental building? This is Santa Ana, and police say the driver was speeding, hit a center median, went airborne, and you see where the car landed. 2 people were inside the car at the time, suffering only minor injuries. Thank goodness we're able to get out safely. Authorities believe that alcohol may have been a factor in this one.
So the Ford Ranger is making a comeback. Ford unveiling a 2019 model at the Detroit Auto Show this week. That's what it's going to look like. Ford pulled the Ranger off the market in the United States and Canada in 2011 because it said customers weren't interested enough in small trucks to sustain the business. Well, it has a few cosmetic changes for the North American market now, including changes in the grille and hood line. Production on the new Ranger, they say, will begin later this year.
We take you to Connecticut, and they're saying that an ice jam. It is an ice jam, as you can see on your screen, and that has taken over this river there, and a lot of residents forced to evacuate as a result. And water continuing to spill from the banks on the side there. First responders had to use boats to rescue some people from their homes as the floodwaters made it impossible for them to get out on their own. Mild temperatures in this area melting the snow that they had a lot that accumulated last week. Melting now unlikely to happen for a while because they've gone the other way and they have near Arctic-like conditions. It is very cold in this area of Connecticut now. Fire officials saying 6 people had to evacuate their homes. Ice jams and flooding have been reported all across the state, and that was all throughout the weekend. Nothing like that. So ice jams and no traffic jams early, Jeff, on this holiday Monday morning.
It's really nice so far, Kim, as we take a live look outside both directions of I-15. Everything is in the clear, and actually we're accident free so far, and hopefully it stays that way. Remember, it is a holiday, so a lot of people will be staying home and not heading to and from work. 15 southbound is clear, so is 215. Another update in 10 minutes, and just a reminder that in downtown Las Vegas, you will see closures as a result of the upcoming MLK parade. That's going to be on 4th Street near Stewart. Let's see how the weather's going to shape up for that with Kelly.
It's looking great out there today. Yesterday was a gorgeous day too. Yesterday a lot more sun to get things going. This is a time-lapse look from Lake Mead Marina. Looks like a few boats heading out there. Today is fee-free day out at Lake Mead, so if you want to go do some boating, maybe do some hiking out there, just go for a nice drive. It's perfect weather for that. Temperatures right now upper 40s across much of the Las Vegas Valley. In fact, Green Valley is already at 50. Aliante 46, and Lakes you're coming in at 49 degrees. Winds are light, not an issue for us. And the satellite radar composite just showing some clouds out there. We are going to see partly sunny skies today. So again, a few more clouds than what we saw yesterday. Now, if you're heading down to that parade, it kicks off at 10 a.m. The temperature will be about 57 degrees. So maybe a light jacket, but by the time it wraps up, we're going to see temperatures in the 60s. It's going to be great to have lunch maybe outside after the parade as well. Now, the high temperatures today, Pahrump 65 degrees, Laughlin 71, Boulder City 64 degrees. Overnight tonight, mostly cloudy skies, Indian Springs 37 degrees. Boulder City 45, and Mesquite you're going to be 42 for that low temperature. Now, the 7-day forecast. A few more clouds in the forecast for Tuesday. Cooler temperatures, relatively speaking, 63 degrees. But we have a storm system on the way. That's going to be Friday. We have a chance to see a little bit more rain. I don't think we'll see as much as we saw last week. We're also going to be dealing with gusty winds and a drop in those temperatures.
So you don't think we're going to get an inch and a half of rain on Friday?
Not a third of our annual total.
The weather guy in Austin and bummed out that he missed the whole event that we had.
But I was looking at the Las Vegas radar when I was 1,000 miles away, just marveling at how heavy the rain was.
It was a lot.
It was cool.
All right, you guys, still to come this morning, we have what's being called the Minnesota Miracle. Were you yelling in your living room like we were in the Wagner household? It was stunning. It's one for the ages. Talk about water cooler worthy. It's headed your way.
It was reported that just before the election last year, President Trump's personal lawyer arranged a six-figure payment to cover up an alleged affair between Trump and porn star Stormy Daniels. So at least there's one storm Trump will pay for.
5:54, time for the water cooler. They are calling it the Minnesota Miracle. 61 yards away from the end zone with seconds remaining. The Vikings down by one. Stephon Diggs. He hauls it in and rushes to the end zone. You've got to feel bad, if you're a Saints fan especially, for the defensive back on the play because he had a beat on Stephon Diggs. All he had to do was tackle him inbounds, and that would have ended the contest. But it looks like he takes a bad angle and he tries to go underneath him, and he missed him.
That's exactly right.
That kid's never going to live it down. Stephon Diggs goes in for the game-winning touchdown. So the Vikings win by 5, and instead of trying to kick the extra point, they took a knee on the extra point, which is critical to what the line was yesterday, and we'll talk more about that coming up. Meanwhile, you've got to check this one out. There is a bookstore that has displayed a collection of books that is making rounds online. This display at the Rough Draft Bar and Books in Kingston, the books featured are all written by writers with foreign backgrounds paired with a sign containing an expletive allegedly used by President Donald Trump. Trump allegedly referred to some foreign countries, including Haiti, also El Salvador, countries in Africa, calling them S-holes last week, according to some that were in that meeting. And on that stand, you can see books like Kite Runner and 1,000 Splendid Suns, written by foreign authors in this case.
All right, so maybe you have something to say about the water cooler. I know I have questions about the Vikings-Saints game. You see our Twitter handles on your screen. So the point spread, and because of the extra point, they went out there on the field after much melee, but they never kicked the extra point.
So that's one aspect to it. Other people bet the Saints money line just to win the game with no point spread. They lost that bet on the final play. Some people bet the Vikings minus 4.5, so they won the game. Some people bet the Vikings minus 5.5. They lose by 0.5 point, but if they would have kicked the extra point, they would have won their bet. So the sports books were going crazy yesterday.
I was just going to say, they'll be talking about this one for quite some time. New in our 6 o'clock hour, the questions on a middle school survey that has parents outraged. You'll find out why, new at 6.